Well, well, that was awkward. Welcome, one and all. To Final Fantasy XI. Hopefully it doesn't just boot us right out. The fortress city of Sandoria lies to the north on the great city of continent of Quan, the beating heart of an ancient kingdom. Its home. But now, her reign of glory is but memory. Heroes raise shining swords to the heavens no more. The sun has set on the kingdom of knights, an old lion never to rise again. Thus, do some dismiss her now. Yet young Elvan knights still venture proudly into the land wilds of Vanadiel, determined to triumph over any foe. Should fortune favor him, bards across the land will sing of his exploits for generations to come. Of course, he's only begun his rise to glory. No one can tell what his future holds. Never before has he stepped foot within the Elevan capital. I say, what were you going? Oh, and a recruit are you? That explains it. Well, far be it from me to chastise someone on his first day. Still, as a citizen of Sandoria, you... Wait, the expedition has returned. Halt! I must inspect your ranks for infiltrators. Oh, let us through. We're exhausted. Still, I must check for infiltrators. As a temple knight, I'm responsible for the safety of the citadel. You royal knights must cooperate. Is this how you thank us, treating us like criminals? You temple knights have it easy, staying inside these walls. No time for your games. How dare you? What's going on here? Lady Cirilla, these knights refuse to verify their identities. Welcome back, Earl Knights. You must be weary. After reporting to Prince Tryon, shed your armor and see to your families. Long have they waited for you. Thank you, Lady Cirilla. Earl Knights, forward. Those knights are back from a dangerous mission. Remember that sometimes rules can be bent. Take pride in your duties, but do not mind the trivial. Remember, you're the face of Sandoria. Yes, ma'am. And to the new recruit, I say this. The glory of Sandoria depends on each and every citizen. Good luck. General Cirilla, bravo! Gifted with much sympathy. Without your temple knights, we royal knights could not patrol the wilderness. Your order is a sturdy pillar which we rest. We're not your servants, Rahal. But tell me how you fared, how your patrol fared. You seem drawn to the world outside Cirilla. Perhaps you find this fortress too constraining? It's none of your business. But your troops did look weary. Did make any progress against the enemy? No, it's ever the same. No one can tell what orcs may do next. And always must I struggle with two chains of command. You know, Prince Tryon and Prince Piege. I see the wisdom in both their strategies, but yeah, we don't need to discuss this before the recruit. Should we walk to the castle? Ah, it would be an honor. Let's enjoy a bottle of 812 Rollumberry in the warmth of my chamber. I prefer the strategy council room. I shall make battaglia tea, should you thirst. Ever the same, I see. How's General Cirilla of the Temple Knights? Her order watches over the city and protects Chateau Dorongil. Rahal's Royal Knights, on the other hand, spy on our enemies and battle fiends. With such disparate duties, those two orders maintain a tense rivalry. Perhaps I could be of service. Is there anything in particular you'd like to know? Let's see. I'd like to know more about adventuring. Recruits. Don't know which way to hold a sword and you think you're ready for adventures. Well, what would you like to know? The important thing to do is this really doesn't matter. Commendable choice for a new recruit. Head to any city gate and inquire at a gatehouse. You'll be doing work for the glory of the kingdom. This is an important thing to note. Most of your quests, at least the important ones, are picked up from city gate guards. Or at least in general. Should you need directions, ask those around you. Our sins are friendly, for the most part. Here, take this adventurer coupon. Give it to Olivia in Victory Square. I'll show you where she is on your map. Open the map option, select markers, and then scroll to the right. That'll tell you where you need to go. To give items to others, select Trade from the main menu. Don't you forget it. We have acquired that. First thing we need to do is enter our chat filters. So we need to turn off say and tell and shout and yell. If only that should shut up the main chat box a little bit. Right, it defaults to that. Things I forget. It defaults left and right being reversed on the gamepad. There we go. That's what I needed to know. There, now we're turning right, turns right, and turning left, turns left. Excellent. Now, first thing we're going to want to know, grab a home point. Home points are very important. These are relatively recent addition. These are teleporters. You could not use them. That would be silly, however. Let's see, which button is it? There we go. Also, we need to get familiar with the map. You can see all the other warp points on the map. You're going to want to grab those as soon as possible. Also, if you ever need to find anybody, this is what wide scan is for. You can look up any NPC. Any one of them. Trust me, this comes very useful. Specifically, once we start going into the main field to kill things, because enemies also show up there. And sometimes you just want to make sure an enemy exists before you go trying to go find them and murder them. Trust me, that's kind of important. Especially once we get to enemies that decide to spawn, like NMs or just monsters that are slightly more rare. They do exist, and yeah, just NMs, notorious monsters, various kinds. Anyway, we're supposed to be, let's see, it's Victory Square, wasn't it? I've already forgotten. Right, and that doesn't show up as a quest, so I've already forgotten who I was supposed to talk to. But they did say Victory Square, which is, I believe, up here. In northern Sandoria. I think it's northern. The Halloween event is going on, so we might see some unusual things floating around. Yep, northern Sandoria is right here. Here's a thing, and this is something the guide is going to tell you about a little bit. There are multiple expansions for Final Fantasy XI. Past, I want to say Chains of Promethea. Past Chains of Promethea. They can kind of be done in whatever order you want. One of the big recommendations, and that's because Final Fantasy XI does not respect your time. If you're wanting to progress like in Seekers of Edlin, which is the latest the last paid expansion, you're gonna spend 7 to 8 months just maxing out the things in order to complete the story there. There is no speeding that up. You are going to spend 7 to 8 months. That's I'm not even joking there. And that's just doing daily things. Dailies and... So we might as well get started on it. Have you heard about what's going on in Adeline? The land to the west? I have. Things are starting to heat up. But can you imagine? Pioneering new lands in this day and age. What in Vanadil could they possibly be thinking? Lands are filled with airships. Yet they pretend to be being trailblazers. All of this seems ludicrous enough. Not like it affects us here, though. Only adventurers would. Can I help you? I heard you were talking about something. What's this now? Want to know more about the colonization project? Sorry, I'm not much in the dark as you. Beyond the reaches of the Sea of Zelfmog, toward the sun, where the sun sets, lies Adeline. It's a country in its own right, no? But savage lands for a country, I must declare. Still, though, word is that they are searching for some able-bodied adventurers to serve as pioneers. If memory serves, wasn't the Juneau Chamber of Commerce and Industry holding some sort of test for interested applicants? If exploring new land piques your interest, you might consider heading over to find out more. If you truly need your aid, I wish you the best of luck. And that is how you start Seekers of Adeline. It's going to be a while before we can actually get to Adeline. Trust me. It's not entirely straightforward getting there. Registered that home point. Set in Victory Square. No, that's the parade ground. Oh, Victory Square was down there. We were already in Victory Square. Duh. One of the interesting things that 11 does, and I can say this having rolled as a 5th alt, 5th character, something like that. There's kind of a randomized start. Like, there's multiple ways into most of these city-states. And it will choose one for you at random. I've started at, let's see, the multiple Bastock characters I've used. I've started in the Bastock Mines, I've started in the markets. I think I even started in the port on one character. I swear the name started with an A, so it has to be you. This is the thing you have to get used to. Is trading items to NPCs. Well, hello, I'm Olivia. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Learning your way around can be daunting at first, but take your time and you'll be fine. Should you get lost, check the map from the main menu. I'm supposed to give you this in exchange for your adventure coupon. You may find a guardswoman named Aluin at the West Gate, southwest of here. Here's further information that should prove useful in your adventuring. And money. Our first set of money. Now you might be wondering, how do you check how much money you have? I actually forget. Currencies. No, it's not in currencies. It's in your inventory. Right. not. What was like in our status? No, there it is in our equipment. Right. There's a lot of things to go over. But most of that will be fine. That's the auction house. We'll be perusing that quite a bit. Let's see. Weapons shop is off to our left. Because we started with a dagger, and it's not a terrible dagger, to be honest. However, oh yeah, this is one of the recent additions they made in the October update. There is a jump command. However, I think it's mostly just cosmetic, because I don't think it actually functions as an actual jump. But they've added it to where you can bind it to the gamepad, which is kind of useful. Now, most of these stores have cool things in them. You have to use every door. In order to use it, you have to actually acknowledge and use a door. Look at that price of that sword, 700 gil. We just got 50, so now we have 60 gil. That's not even a sword we can use. That's a level 7 sword. Whatever are we gonna do? Especially if, as a red mage, it's like, well, what do we do? What if I don't want to use the dagger? Which, you're gonna want some dagger skill and some other, some sword skill. Because, weapon skills. Combat skills. This is one of the things that, sets 11 apart from especially modern ones. See, these weapon skills, these are the current weapon skills that a red mage, which is what we are, can equip. Daggers, swords, clubs, throwing weapons, using a shield, parrying, evading, archery, you know, those. And then we have the 6 different magic types. Yes. The more proficient you are, the more... Oh, it's not an easy game to get into. I've actually fallen out. I used to play 11 a decent bit a few months back, but I kind of fell out of it because I reached level 99 and was like, oh god, if I'm gonna try and do anything. Like, there's months, there's years worth of grind before I can even get decent gear, and it just did not appeal to me, a lot of it. But I figured, you know what, I didn't complete the stories, so I was like, you know what, let's experience the story. I might as well do that on stream. Let's see, where are we? One more. Sorry about that. There's actually 2 people we're gonna need to talk to. One is the guard over there, Elaine. And then there's this guy. This guy is kind of important. I have no idea how unprepared most adventurers in these parts are. My superior told me to meet an adventurer who set the first objective. Oh, right. This is one of the things they added. Records of Eminence. Oh, we haven't unlocked it yet. Here it is. The Records of Eminence. This is actually where you earn a lot of your starting gil. Are with these Records of Eminence. You set them, and there's a lot of them. And then you meet your guy. What will you do? Something shiny's on the ground. You drop something? I'll ever be able to show my beautiful yet shamed face to my superiors again. Oh, it's a female. Oh my, what stunning confidence. I'd long given up on hope of bumping into someone who satisfied that tall list of requirements. You would not happen to be knowledgeable the subject of Records of Eminence, would you? We are. Splendid. Then you've saved both of me from losing any more of my time from a long-winded explanation. As you know, you've cleared the first objective with flying colors. Don't worry, I'll go into more detail. In honor of your accomplishment, I'll present you with a memorandum. It slinks up from nowhere, just like an assassin, and it stares with such creepy intensity that you cannot help but think about how adorable it is. Do you think it's listening? Each time you clear an objective, the details are recorded within the frame of this eerie doll. On a brighter note, you'll also receive a quantified measure of your eminence, termed sparks. Of course, I as well cannot stand how that doll stares daggers into the depths of my soul. At least its inventor was magnanimous enough to bestow it with this special function. We can hide it away, thank God. Amazing, is it not? Here it's all attributable to an astral patina. Sadly, I don't understand anything more about it than that. What I do know is that your recipe for success is to set your objectives periodically. That way you can complete them while on your adventure and garner away as many sparks as possible. Moreover, some objectives only appear after you complete a certain amount of others. There's always a chance you'll be surprised when you check. In the event you've forgotten how to set objectives, yes, I suggest you partaking in a variety of objectives, including others that may be repeated. Then, when you accrue enough eminence, come to me or my friends. We have many rewards stockpiled, ready to enter your veteran hands. In summation, with benefits more inflated than even the royal guard's sense of self-worth, and definitely no downside, why would you not give this a shot? Upon further inspection, you might not seem as reliable as I thought. Oh, and this memorandum is irrevocably bonded to you. There's no need to return it. All we can do with it is throw it to the Wendigos if you don't keep it. Invisible eyes upon you cause the hairs on the back of your neck to rise. It nods in agreement. And then she just summons it back. And there we go. We've received 300 sparks. That does not sound like a lot, and it really isn't. However, the most important thing that it has done is it has unlocked all of our other sparks. Don't worry about all these other things like plaudits, Unity. We'll worry about Unity a little later. order to get to do unities. I don't think unities are unlocked until level 5. Yeah, unities are unlocked at level 5, so we'll worry about that later. If we had undead, I don't think there's any undead outside the city. Field of Valor training manual, heal without using magic. Those are easy ones. Killing an enemy. Let's see. None of those are useful at the moment. We'll worry about missions later, because I don't think we're going to get to missions today. Combat. Vanquish multiple enemies. This is one you should always have on. Probably should turn on 10 to 20, even though it's unlikely we're going to get that much. Damage. Damage taken. Weapon skills. We'll worry about spoils later, because I don't remember what enemies are directly outside. Let's see, what else are there? Fame. Grabbing the signet one. This one's always a quick one to get. Let's see, anything else? I don't think there's anything else that we can get. Oh, sit. Restoring HP by healing. Very useful to have. And if there's any dailies, I don't think we'll get to 30 enemies. There we go. Anyway, we needed to talk to you. This is basically the actual tutorial. She actually has a lot of things to say. Some low-level duties. First, I think we can buy a sword from in here. Yes, with our 300 sparks, we can buy... I think we can buy a basic sword. Yes, the wax sword. This is actually how you're going to get a lot of your gear up to level 50. Is straight from her. But first, before we even begin, there's one other thing we have to do, because I believe... I thought we had. Do we not have the mug? The mug wardrobe yet. It has been a little bit. Yeah, here we go, mug wardrobe. This is actually where you're gonna store a lot of your things at, especially your equipment. Because in here, you can actually store your equipment and not have it on you, because your inventory is stupidly limited. Which means, yes, you're going to want to unequip all your basic equipment and shove it in your mug, and shove it in your mug wardrobe. Yeah, because you only have 30 slots. And trust me, that is not a lot of space. Right, log one. This actually helps a lot, although even So you actually don't have access to all 8 of these wardrobe slots. I think you only get like the first 3. The first 2 or 3. Maybe up to 4, but yeah, these other ones you have to actually pay for. A lot of them. Have him cast Signet on us. Signet is a very important buff you're gonna want on you at all times. And as you can see, that gave us experience as well. Signet's important because it's what allows enemies to drop crystals, clusters, and various other things. Meals are also kind of important, although at early level they're not that useful. But they do provide some useful things, like this one. 23% in attack, plus 3 strength. Believe it or not, that is a lot of strength boost. That's a large strength boost. So, now we have to reach level 5 in a weapon skill. That is the first objective. There's a reason I grabbed all of those, set all those records of eminence. Now we have combat. Over here in Rest Ronfar. Now, normally you start with your basic map. There's a basic map, there always is. Normally, there's a book right nearby. There it is, the field manual, which we will track. And as you can see on the little radar, it points you in that direction. This is where we get to, what's it called? Fields of Valor. Yeah, Fields of Valor and Records of Valor. This is where you get training and support, where you can also get another type of currency called tabs. But this is also where you get boosts. Training regimens. We need to kill worms. I'm actually not sure where the closest worm is. Yes. Worms are in there. Worms are over there. There are also rabbits and other things to kill. Now, if you've played Final Fantasy XIV a little bit, a lot of these things will look very, very familiar. Some of them will not. Now, basic enemies, you can always check them. You should always do that. Let's see, we only know one magic spell. I'm actually not sure where that worm went. There he is. Combat in 11 is fairly basic and slow. Although, if you've seen like the Final Fantasy XIV, well, 1.0 footage, it should seem very familiar. This is basically what 14 1.0's combat was. We've now been damaged. I'm wondering, what did I have on that at? There we go. When you need healing, which we need just a little bit, there's always the heal button, which you generally take a sit, and slowly. And it is so very, very slowly you begin to heal. But it is, in fact, very useful. As you can see, we're just rolling in the records of eminence, which is very useful. However, once you reach maximum health, it's now up to you to cancel it. Okay, that's a pixie. That is, I believe, from the event. Worms. Fortunately, most of these guys are not terribly aggressive towards us. But we do need to get our weapon skill up. Where did he go? And more than our magic, we need our weapon skill to go up. And it is oh so very slow. Now you notice I don't have a shield equipped because I want to raise my parrying and evasion skill. You also notice that there's absolutely no way to tell how close we are to a level. That was a crit. And we got our first crystal, an earth crystal. So we're probably going to want to throw on some of these records of eminence about crystals. Generally, you're going to want to have these on because the sparks they give is very good. The only ones I wouldn't recommend are the light and the dark. There's just not enough enemies to even concern yourself with light and dark crystals. At least early on. Let's see, these guys, I believe these guys drop flint stones. I might as well grab the rabbit one too, in case we decide to switch over to rabbits at any point soon. At any point. And yes, you can in fact miss. On treasure chests. There are two types of treasure chests. This blue one, which these blue ones are temporary. They give you temporary items which only exist while you're on the map. Honestly, most of the time, those are pretty useless. If an enemy drops a brown chest, however, then they are most definitely not. Then that's just a standard item drop. What is our current status? We are level 5. We've somehow reached level 5. That was a bit faster than I was expecting. Combat skill, sword is currently at level 1. How close is that to mass? To the next level? I think it is an actual point-by-point basis, so you need to get 1 point per... Oop, we got a first aggressive. Maybe this grappler. This aura. We're on some Dia. That'll help kill him faster. See, their evasion just reached level 2. Parrying reached level 1. Good. Sword is now level 2. We need that to hit level 5. Because that's when we get our first weapon skill. Ah, see what I was saying. But there's a gimmick. Final Fantasy XI does not let you just grab the items. There's a mini game. First digit is odd. First digit is 5 or 7. Can we get another? Second digit is 1, 2, or 3, so it's okay. Let us attempt to unlock it. We have got 3 chances. Enter the number. Let's try 71. First try. What is it? A pair of slacks or a potion? Or a brass cap. Let's see, can Red Mage equip it? Yes. There we go. Our first actual armor upgrade. Honestly, these are mostly just useless things. The other thing you should probably note is that at some point, your weapon skills will in fact stop increasing because you're not fighting a hard enough enemy. I'm not terribly concerned. Most of the items they drop are pretty useless. But now that we've reached level 5, well, let's go for a little bit longer before we concern ourselves with the next set of things to unlock. Three more of those. 3 more worms. Also, we'll stumble across weird things like this. We don't have to worry about that for a good long time. Like a long, long time. You have no idea how long. We'll probably accidentally start... not Echoes of Venice. Yeah. One of the other expansions. No. Now, if you hadn't noticed, that's the first time we got an actual level up, not only notification, but fanfare. We've gained 6 levels since then, so it's like, yeah. Sometimes the game just, either the server or the client just says, I'm going to ignore the fact you're even making progress. And it's like, why would you do that? Now, I did say, okay, yep, 3 crystals and 2 flints. Good to have. Now that we've reached level 7, I believe that's where the first technical tier of equipment that's actually useful, that's actually somewhat useful is. Long wardrobe. Actually, we put our actual equipment in 2. In our equipment, just for storage reasons. Oh, that's level 11. That's a level 11 helmet anyway. But now that we've reached level 7, we've reached another easy break point. While we're still technically in the tutorial stage, honestly, it's probably due to some of the bonuses. Yeah, this is exactly what I thought. Starting Rhapsodies. I couldn't remember. I know it was ROV, but I couldn't remember what it was. This is the important one to start. The important expansion story to start. Because it takes place during each expansion story. So it's kind of an overarching story that takes place during every story, and provides some massive bonuses. This is where you get XP buffs, you unlock useful items to buy from specified merchants, things that really help as you go along. I mean, it is ridiculous. The crystal resonates deep within your soul. And also, if you've played 14 and have been around for the 2 crossover event, the returning crossover event, this is where she comes from. Theoretically, the crossover event takes place before Rhapsodies even begins, or it may take place somewhere in between. Vanadiel, in the year 898. Let's make haste for the Reisenjima and find Master before. Before what? Now that it's been started, even though there's no... That's not terribly important right now. We are going to want some equipment. Like we're level 7. Honestly, these blind daggers are actually kind of more useful than you think. Blind is just a useful stat. And with weapon damage being so low, sometimes being able to proc those statuses is exceedingly useful. Now, if I really wanted to hate myself, I would start throwing archery on there as well, so we could get some of that up. Trust me, we don't want to worry about that right now. Yeah, everything that's got a defense of 1 is basically the same as your default armor. As we can see with level 7, however, the gear starts actually having some uses. So we'll grab... Wait a minute. Is there perhaps some better looking gear? It's not leather. Okay, standard mage gear. Come on. Okay, shields are a thing. We should probably grab a shield at some point. Okay, we're just gonna be wearing some basic leather armor. At least for a little bit. So at what point did they give us the red mage looking armor that I love having as a glamour just forever? keep forgetting, don't hit... I keep forgetting to not hit select button on my controller. But yeah, sorting your inventory is half the fight in 11. Like, you would not believe how hard it is. Your inventory being half the fight. And honestly, the gear doesn't look that bad. But it is also kind of ridiculous, like that headband. I mean, look at this headband. It doesn't even cover your full head. It doesn't even go around your head. It's a little silly. We need to complete 10 objectives. I don't think we've completed 10 objectives. 10 records of eminence objectives. What ones have we not used? Anyway, that's for unities. We'll worry about those a little bit later. Now we need to find a specific... Well, there's a record of eminence we're going to need to have set. Because there's more basics. Here we go. Summoning forth an alter ego. We need to look for Gondobard. It's Sandoria. Quadrant L6. Very important. Grounds of Valor are very similar to Fields of Valor, but those are for specific dungeons, which take place in the overworld. Might as well grab both of these. Even though we're not going to worry about either of those for a while. Here we are. This is what I was looking for, these conflicts. Now, these conflicts are just kill a certain number of enemies in a zone. Pretty standard. Subjugation is dealing with specific notorious monsters, like Jaggy-Eared Jack. They can reward some pretty decent levels of experience. We're not terribly concerned about those at the moment. Yet. Let's see. Yeah, it's going to be a while before we hit the deal 110 to 120. Here's the thing. These deal certain damage range things. Set them... take them... because you never know. Seriously, you never know when you're gonna hit that zone. Trust me. Anyway. Let's see, they said L6. Now, if you've never read a map that is set up like this, notice how there's numbers down the left and right, and an alphabet down at the bottom. So I said L6, you look here at the L zone, you go up until you hit the 6. He's in Lion Square. That is how you read a map, if you've never read a map like that. And trust me, it took me a bit to get used to that, because most maps are not laid out like that nowadays. Now from current region, Southern Sandoria. The nice thing is, they're scattered everywhere. And because we're transporting within a region, it costs no gil. That is not gonna stay that way. Like when you start transporting from zone to zone to zone, that's gonna cost you a little bit of gil. Don't worry. We'll worry about that later. Gondobard. Hail, friend. No need to be so fleet of foot. Come, let me impart upon you a tantalizing morsel of information. A freshly hatched adventurer such as yourself could surely appreciate the offer I'm about to lay forth for your consideration. I, Gondabad, am an esteemed member of the storied Juno Institute of Magical Studies. Mayhap I'm repeating what you already know, but Juno is a grand city far to the southeast of here that connects the Quan and Mandarita continents. Juno is where the new Final Fantasy XIV raid is going to start a little bit. But we'll get to Juno in 11 at some point. It's going to be a while. Leading councils bid me to come to this fair land of Sandoria with the most sacred mission. Several moons past, our famed institute held a lavish symposium at which we were made privy to the public information about a new form of magic. These new incarnations of which we call trusts. Yes, this is the trust system in Final Fantasy XI. It's in it. And these trusts run very different than trusts in Final Fantasy XIV. These are quite literally NPCs. And we need to go to Northern Sandoria. In order to unlock them. Now this is actually how you can do a lot of the game solo. The trusts are not necessarily the smartest or best, because they all have their own very specific quirks. But there's a lot of them. And the basic ones you get can form a pretty basic party. And a pretty useful party as well. That's another thing the Rhapsodies unlocks. And now the Halloween music takes over. But regardless, Rhapsodies also unlocks, as I was saying before I got interrupted in my thought process. There we go. I forget where some of these these home points are. Anyway, as I was saying before I got rudely interrupted in the thought process. Where was I? Oh yeah, you can, Rhapsodies also unlocks, as you pursue it, the ability to summon even more trusts. Like there are many trusts. Let's see, the parade grounds, okay, yep. It's over here. As he said, he was at the West Run for the Western Gate. Next one. But yeah, the trusts are actually very useful, and in fact, the one we unlock, the tank, for lack of a better term, he's technically a paladin. He's very powerful, and is considered one of the best ones that we have. The survival guides, which also look like your normal hunt books, or Fields of Valor, or Grounds of Valor books. These survival guides let you teleport from survival guide to survival guide, which is actually very useful. And that actually lets you transport out to a lot of places in the world on maps. Because most maps don't have home points. Home points are only for cities and things like that. Or some dungeons. Dungeons normally have one at the beginning. And I believe we needed to talk to a Sinmeal here. In order to unlock trusts. Yes. For once, we didn't need to trade him an item. But normally you have to trade items to NPCs. No, we do not know what trust magic is. Or how to utilize it. Take a hand and concentrate on the bonds upon which we have forged by merely talking. And we have made a copy of him. He's a little bit, Now, I will say, some of these trusts have bonuses to having them together. This is all the information you can find on the wiki, and trust me, the wiki is going to be your best friend. I actually have it open. Because although I've done this like 5 or 6 times, I forget exactly how to do it. Every time. Now that we have unlocked, we do need to summon him. There's 2 ways we can summon this. And the most useful one is going to be with macros. Yes, Final Fantasy XI is best played actually with macros rather than the combat system by default. And as we can see here, Venerial. We've now received their trust in cipher form. Trust me, Venerial is probably the best tank we will have access to, especially trust-wise, for a long, long, long time. But one of the annoying things about trusts is as you level, and we will be doing a lot of that, they don't strictly level with you. You have to unsummon them and then resummon them. That is why it is often best to have them on... I think we have... another one has shown up. The assist channel one. That's just the, basically the Novice Network in 14. It's where you can get help and that kind of things. In Southern... Now, here's the thing. E exits. A auction house. M is for Moghold, which is another thing this game has. Everyone gets their own instanced house with which they can do things with. And trust me, you will be doing a lot with your Mog House, especially once you unlock the garden aspect of it. Theoretically, at least. Let's see, the liaison is over here. It's the assist channel. Where can I access it? Blah, blah, blah. Tell me about mentor messages. Thumbs up warnings. It's all just things about this. And we have received 300 more, and more importantly, experience and the number that we need to theoretically unlock unities. Now, unities are just player associations that are technically ruled or governed by NPCs in the game. Those NPCs you can get as trusts. And some of them are some of them are actually useful. Now that we have trust magic, if we want to get more, like using this cipher, we actually have to trade it. At least I thought we did. I thought that was all we needed to do. He is not wanting to trade that. Yeah, he is not wanting to help us. Well, he's just being exceptionally rude then. Unless I'm not doing something terribly wrong. He just really does not want to trade. He just really does not want to receive. Oh, I think I know. God, it's that one silly thing that they have you do. We gotta talk back to what's his face. Current region, Northern Sandoria, at the exit. Now, one thing I will say about 11 is you might look at it and say, like, for a 20-year-old game, you know, those look like pretty decent textures, and everything looks somewhat decent. And you would be right if you have the HD texture pack installed, also running Reshade, and things to make it just look better. I forgot that we have to talk back to this guy in order to finish, because we have to get the trust permit. And there we go. Now we can summon multiple egos. Now we can start trading in Venereal. and others. And we should, in short order, have the 10 required in order to unlock unities. Now, there are, in fact, coming up here shortly, is going to be the Fall Trust event, which does not give us Shantoto 2, who's considered the best magic damage dealer in the game. If you've got a chance to get Shantoto 2, she's definitely a trust you're going to want. Here we go. Now that we have it. Now some of these trusts are quite ridiculous. Such as Sakura, who's just a little chocobo chick. And now, I believe we have to summon Venereal. Is that her or him? I honestly forget Venereal's gender. Set this as our current home point. Might as well. We need a home point. Travel to another home point. Current region. Southern. Sandoria's exit. Are we even going to get... I'm not even sure we're gonna get to necessarily combat level 5 for a little bit. I think there might be an XP boosting campaign going on right now. Because normally levels are pretty fast, but not that fast. Huh, when do we get Cornelia? Ah, and there we go. We've received another cipher. Quests. Always go in here and grab your next tutorial objective. Eliapo. Now, the one thing you might worry about is that there is a cap on the number of sparks. And also, we've been receiving so many sparks, it's like, okay, well, what do we do with them all? Especially since they cap. And also, how do we get money? Because Gil is useful. Well, there's a solution to that. And that's in here. You're going to go, I believe it is here in the 71 to... I think it is in the 71 range. Yeah, 8-sided pole. You're going to want to scroll down till you find the Acheron shield. Notice how many sparks that is. That is 2750 sparks. You're going to buy a lot of these. And I'm just doing this merely to show. And then we need to... well... we gotta get the next trust going anyway. So we gotta go towards there anyway. But didn't go want to sell it. Now you might look at that and be like, well, that cost you 2,700 sparks. You're gonna be rolling in sparks, don't worry about it. You're like, oh, what's that sell for? Like, a few hundred, maybe a couple thousand gil. Surely it's not gonna be anything that important. Oh, it's like 27,000. Like, selling a few of these is gonna be beautiful. Like 27,000 a pop. And like I said, you will be rolling. Oh, 26, 27, somewhere in there. And our guild worries are now gone. Oh, right. And that's Mr. X. He gives he has dials and random chests he gives that you can roll for, and they have very good items in them, as well as some useless items. I've actually gotten some decent on my main. I got a nice 119 weapon from one of his chests. I mean, it's a beautiful weapon, too. It's like, oh, that's an upgrade from whatever else I was going to use for Samurai. Now, one other thing. Much like Final Fantasy XIV, 11 you can play all the classes on a single character. One thing that sets this apart from 11's system is the sub-job system, which we'll cover in greater detail when we get to, what's it, level 18 to unlock it. But basically that lets you slot in some abilities from a second job, and believe it or not, they're really good to slot in. It really is what enables 11's builds to exist. Honestly, Tenzin. So yeah, we're just gonna be going back and forth, unlocking all these struts until we unlock Joachim. I believe we can have up to 4 trusts at the beginning. I believe we have... Oh, apparently we've not completed 10 yet. Should be soon, though. Should be soon. Now, the one thing that is limiting, I mean, on top of the character creator in 11 being extremely old and basic, which it is, there's a bunch of lack of customization for your character. Just almost no matter what, you're gonna look like a bunch of other people. That is perhaps the one downside to 11. That's perhaps the one downside to 11. I believe Joachim is next. But yeah, we'll be handling some things, like some actual story missions, next time on 11. Just trying to get as much of this early back and forth thing done as we can. The other nice thing, and I'm gonna say this, is that these buffs, like, they last for hours. Like, I believe that Signet's like a 18-hour countdown, an 18-hour cooldown. It doesn't go away when you log out. forgot about Edelheads. So, once Signet's cast on you, it's there for its full duration as you're logged in. So that is a useful thing to know. Especially once we get the XP buff rings. There are really 2 rings you need to be concerned about for XP buffs. And there's the Echad's ring, which chances are, if you're going to be playing 11 for a while, you'll pick up the Echad's ring. It's just a really good XP boost ring, especially once you get to the later levels, where it just takes theoretically forever. Not forever, but a long time to level up. And the Echad's ring or the Empress Band are going to be your best friends. And those are the 2 XP rings you're going to need to worry about. Now, what makes the Echad's ring nice is that it is infinite, but it's got like a 3-hour it's got a really long cooldown. Whereas the Empress's Band, you have to continually, after so many charges, get it recharged. It is really an annoyance, especially if you're trying to level grind. You're just gonna run out of XP boost at some point. Add that one to my favorites, that way we can just go there faster. Back to quests. Now, there's gonna be 2 of these. Stepping into the ambuscade and exploring the trove that we're not gonna worry about. Like, we're just straight up not gonna worry about those. That is more endgame content, and it's gonna take us a long time to even worry about those. Like, I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be a year or more. There we go. Joachim's alter ego is now present. But yeah, trusts, or getting these trusts unlocked will enable you to just murder most enemies very quickly. Thought I had that one as a favorite. Oh no, I had the exit as a favorite. This is going to be the last trust we unlock, and the last thing we're going to do for the day is summon him. We've made excellent progress. And if you just wanted to do some leveling, it's actually fun to just log in, kill some things, get some levels. You know, check your records of eminence, see what the dailies are, try and fill them out. Find some level appropriate enemies and just go to town on them. It really is just very fun to do. In fact, that's what I did for a while. In fact, that's why in my main I've got like most of the jobs up to level 50. In fact, all the jobs up to level 50. I think a couple of them are 99. I think I've got Rune Fencer and Samurai on my main. Up to level 99. In fact, I was contemplating actually getting some end game, or starting to on them, but after seeing the vast amount of, oh god, I mean, like, current end game weapons in Final Fantasy XI are literally 6 months to a year. Yeah, it's literally like 6 months to a year's worth of grind to get some of the endgame weapons, and it's just like, that's a lot. And let's not even talk about the last story they added. Voracious Resurgence. That is a complicated thing as well. And now that we have all those done, we can now unlock Unities. Which is also has a nice way of, has some nice way of teleporting you places as well. Yes. And they framed this as an expansion to your Memorandal. Oh, Concordal. It's basically the Memorandal. And now we're part of the Aman network. Now, out of all of these, and these are all very decent characters, you're going to want to pick Yoran. Yoran. Because he's considered perhaps the best healing trust in the game. Now, granted, you can't necessarily always summon him, because you need certain... Because, again, it's a currency, you have to grind, and you need to have so much every month in order to be able to summon him. Also, as we can see here, he's got a very... Oh, what are they? They're not Lalafels. It's the Tarutaru. That's what they are. The Tarutaru. They speak very specifically. And as we can see, we now have Unity accolades, which we can spend. There is also items you can buy with your accolades. It's a lot harder, because they're, what is it? Items, what is it? Oh yeah, these special keys, that's for unlocking chests, specifically from that one goblin I was talking about. Here it is, prize powder. You buy a lot of that, and you have to sell it in stacks. It's not quite as fast as the Escheron shields, but that's another way you can make a bunch of gil, and I do recommend that. But with that, we've finally gotten through all of the basics. All of the basics. I forgot to set that one. Whoops. And yes, technically you have to go to each zone, each main castle, each main city-state to fulfill these. And as we can see, there's a bunch of jobs. Now, I will say, the base jobs that you're going to have access to in 11, the base ones, they're probably the most boring ones in existence. Once you get into the expansions, like from Beastmaster onward, they start to get more interesting. Samurai is perhaps one of the more interesting ones because it can combo its weapon skills together, which no other job can. Blue Mage is Blue Mage, very useful. Summoner is surprisingly complicated. I'm not gonna lie, Summoner's like surprisingly complicated. Corsair's a very interesting one. But my favorite one, and perhaps the most active jobs I've played, especially melee jobs, are Samurai and Rune Fencer. We won't go into that because it's going to be forever before we even need to worry about that. Throw that on there. Now, fame is another thing. We are technically an adventurer. And I don't know if you saw in our profile here, there's ranks. That's how famous you are in your city. That actually determines what story missions you can take. Because those and certain side quests give fame. We won't worry too much about that, because you can boost it by trading in crystals. For some reason, that boosts your fame as well. But there's also a very easy... well, two easy ways to boost it. To max that out, super simple. But we'll worry about that once we get the ability to unlock sub-jobs. Because that's where it becomes easiest. Unless you start in Windhurst. If you start in Windhurst, you can straight up max out your fame before you even take a single mission. Windhurst is weird. But that's where we're gonna end it here. We've reached level 8 on our basic job. Actually, we're most of the way to the next level. Combat skill, we're a couple of short on that one in order to continue the tutorial. So, next time, folks, we're going to do a little mission to unlock a little bit of a map. One of the maps that we're going to need. Oh yeah, that's the other thing, is you have to buy maps. Maps. And maps cost gil. But we'll worry about that next time. We're going to do that and start some main missions. They start out pretty small and pretty short. Once we get to some of these longer missions, they can take a while. We'll worry about that next time. Next time and later. I do really enjoy Final Fantasy XI. It has a bit of an unusual vibe to it. A much slower vibe. It's a game you play to relax. I don't play endgame content here, because I can't imagine how stressful it would be. But it's just a fun little grind game. Very dot hack reminiscent. Which is probably where dot hack got its whole inspiration from. We'll see you next time.